Hi, today we have a GameBoy Pocket with no screen, as you can see. This will be used for testing. We have a bunch of broken screens, and by broken I mean I think they work, but they all have burned polarizers. Different degrees of burn, but yeah. And we have this contraption. I wanted to show you this because I find it very helpful when dealing with GameBoy Pocket screens. This essentially help with the ribbon cables. So as you know, these ribbon cables, especially, let me go back to this guy, especially this one here. This connection here is very fragile, so you don't really want to, touch it or bend it or do anything like that. So again, this contraption helps. So this is not my original idea. I saw it in one of Japanese videos, and I couldn't find it. If I can find it, I'll put the link in the description. So again, not my original idea, but I thought I'll try it, and I've actually done a few screens already, and it works very well. So this is essentially a just plastic box from Amazon. The material is not very thick. It doesn't need to be, or shouldn't be thick, because as you can see here, or not, this is maybe what, 1 millimeter. And the reason for that is that the screen has to lay on top of this, and you need to have you need to have access to the polarizer, so it needs to kind of stick out a little bit. So how I did it is essentially I cut this side. So right here, I'll show you there. This is the cutout including this here. Take that away for the moment. Here and here, and then. And again, this has to be, especially these ones here, this one and this one here. These have to be kind of precise because the screen shouldn't really move too much. And then at the bottom, I just took the cover, cut it out, and I kind of glued. And this is very strong glue. It has to be strong glue, and there's a few layers of it, including that reinforcement mesh, as you can see in places. So I just glued this here, these parts, this one, and this one, so that the screen can kind of lay flat on this, and I'll show you that right now. So I'll just move this away. Sorry, I'll take that away for the moment. So I'll just grab a screen and start with this this polarizer here. And it goes like that. So I place it here on these kind of cutouts there. And as you can see, it sits there nice and flat. And all these ribbon cables kind of are safe. So again, the reason for this is that we can safely remove polarizer, both this side, and if you're doing backlight mode, which we'll be doing hopefully in this this video, you can then take it like that. And there's one tricky thing that you need to do. You need to desolder this, but I'll show you how to do that, and place it like that there. So again, it sits there kind of comfortably, and then once you have this connector desoldered, you'll be able to kind of take this ribbon cable, this one, and stick it behind this wire. It's just a piece of wire, and you'll be able to work on this side again safely without risk of cutting all these ribbons. But for now, let's start with this side, and let's try to remove the polarizer. Again, there's probably a billion videos on how to do that. but I'll show you my way, and essentially it's the same way. So you just take a little bit, a piece of this polarizer, and then just unglue it. So let's do it now. So for the removal of the polarizer, I have some this is PC, sorry, this is PCC 15. I don't know what it is. I just use it to clean PCBs. It's slightly better in my opinion than IPA, isopropyl alcohol, because it doesn't evaporate that fast, so it can sit on the glue slightly longer. But I think the IPA will work just as well. I have this plastic kind of scrubber. If I need more precision, I have a smaller one, and I have this, which is very useful. This is supposedly can you see this? There. This is supposedly ceramic. I don't know if it is, but it's certainly sharp, and it's not metal. And it's just to prevent the scratching of the screen. Metal will work as well. You need to be careful. And scalpel, just to start the ungluing the polarizer. And lots of paper towels and lots of these. These are especially useful. They are they don't leave the kind of remains of this stuff. So that's all I have. So let's start doing it. So again, you can push on it, just don't go crazy, because again, the screen only sits on these corners here, especially this one. This is kind of safe, but this, just be careful. Don't go crazy. So just try and slide the scalpel or whatever you have, can be razor blade, whatever, and just gently just slide it there, so that you have enough of the polarizer to kind of grab with your fingers. Shouldn't need too much force to do that. I think that should be enough, maybe slightly more. Yeah, and then just pull the polarizer up. Some of those kind of go very smoothly. Some of them are kind of stubborn. This should be okay. You can always add some IPA or whatever this is, spray a little bit of it on it underneath, and it will help. Yeah, this one looks okay. And I can already see, I think there's the polarizer at the back is also burnt, which is fine, because again, I'll be doing the backlight mode, so I have to take out the polarizer at the back. So this was actually a good choice for this. I hope I didn't break anything. Yeah, I think I'm okay. Actually, this didn't leave pretty much any residue, which is surprising, because most of this I know why, because this polarizer wasn't really burnt. It's the one at the back that's burnt. But anyway, in most cases, if this polarizer is burnt, it will leave a lot of nasty residue, and that's where this stuff comes in. So I just spray the screen with it, leave it for a few seconds, take this and just scrub. And again, my advice, if you have a lot of this glue there, just don't go like that, because that glue will you'll take it back and it'll glue it back to the screen. So just go in one direction like that, clean quite often the remains of the glue, and you'll be fine. So again, this is already done. As I said, there was pretty much just a little bit of the glue right here, but that's it. So this one's done. That was easy. Again, patience. A lot of actually there's you need a lot of patience with this, because this glue is very stubborn. So I actually should have tried this screen before I started working on it, but I think it works. Anyway, so this side is done. What we'll do now, we need access to the back to remove the polarizer and the reflective layer. So there's two layers on this side. This white one is the reflective layer, and there's also polarizer underneath. So we'll have to take it out. But again, some people kind of do it like with this in place, with these ribbons, but this is very risky, and most likely you will damage something. So what I do, I desolder this. And now let's go and see this under the microscope. I'll show you how I do this. Okay, so we have our screen. As you can see, this burnt polarizer at the back. So this is exactly the screen that we were working on. And now it's the tricky part of the whole process. I mean, if you don't do backlight mode, then you're essentially done. Just put the new polarizer and that's it. You're done. But if you do backlight mode, just as I do, you'll need a few things. First of all, soldering iron. You don't need microscope. My eyesight isn't great. Plus, you will see it much better under the microscope. But if you do it for yourself, you don't need microscope. You need a little bit of low melt solder. I use chip wick, I think. So just a tiny bit. You don't need much. What I have that little bit of silicone, which I'll place underneath to prevent burning my desk. Flux, soldering iron, and and some desoldering wick. So people do it in kind of different ways. I use normal solder because I don't want to burn this. I don't want to burn this connector. This is very fragile. You need to be very careful. So grab your soldering iron, put it on, what is it, 220. I have at 220. But first of all, add some flux. Again, don't push on the screen too much, because these ribbon cables again are fragile. So just be careful. Flux is always helpful. And then take that, I actually broke it already. This is very brittle, so it broke already, but this will be enough, should be enough. And again, soldering iron at 220 degrees or so, not too much. You don't want to burn the whole thing. So as you can see, it melts instantly, like. And I just go and, oh crap. I just go and kind of, and I need my fume extractor. Oof. Okay, so just apply this, the low melt solder like that. I'm not even touching the ribbon cable. It's just low melt solder that's touching it. You see? It's just gliding over it. So, and if you want to touch the ribbon, just try and do it like this direction. Okay, so now is the tricky part. What I do, I have this kind of plastic thing. Metal, something metal would have been better, but I don't have it. So as you can see, this is already slightly melted here. It will melt, but that's not a big deal. So I just put my silicone pad underneath, and I just slide this. Yeah, you probably can't see this. Let me try and show you that. Hopefully I don't destroy this LCD in the process. So you see this, they are connected here, right here. So you have to slide the whole thing from this side. Actually, I still have this, see this tape, so I need to remove that. Okay, so this is done. So again, with this, sorry about that, it's not easy to do it under the microscope. So I just slide this here, can you see this, and keep it like that. Flip the screen so that you can see your connector. Again, it can be done, it's probably easier without the microscope, but you just need to find a way to be able to push it, hold the screen with one hand and push it at the same time while yeah, that's applying low mat solder. So I'm not sure if you will be able to see anything really. So a little bit of low mat solder, like that, and just push it in there. Don't worry, you have a lot of time. Low mat solder won't set quickly, and almost there, done. As you can see, now you have to keep it for some time because this takes time. See, still melted. So keep it for a while. And again, be very careful with these screens. But yeah, it can be done. Okay, I'll turn off my fume extractor for a moment. Okay, so I think it's set. So I can now remove this whole thing. It's kind of glued itself because of the flux. Now, so that was the trickiest part. Now, but it's not over yet, unfortunately. So now you have to separate those again. Again, it kind of glues itself because of the flux. So separate those, as you can see. Put your silicone pad there, and now we have to remove this low mat solder. So the only drawback I can see really with the low mat solder is that you have to remove it. You can't just go back and resolder this thing when you need to. This has to be removed. So again, add some flux. This always helps. And I grab my desoldering wick. I have this ceramic, whatever that is. I'm not sure if it's ceramic, it's probably plastic, but anyway. So I grab this and just use the soldering iron, and I'll show you how to do that. Just one thing. So what I do, I just grab my soldering iron. Just make sure you remove the remains of low mat solder on your tip. And what helps is just add some kind of solder, normal solder, to the tip of the iron. Doesn't need to be much, just a tiny bit. It will heat up this wick quicker. So just it will suck it up. So as you can see there, just don't touch that chip. Be careful. Again, I'll probably use the other side of this, already full of low mat solder, and just go again on the other side. Again, you don't need to push at all, and again, always go in the kind of parallel to this, so in this direction. Never go like that, because you'll bend those pins and you'll have a lot of issues straightening them up. So this is done, but again, we are not done yet. And again, this kind of glued itself, and now the tricky part now is to, well, remove the remains of the Lommel solder from this bottom ribbon cable. Again, you need to be careful with this. So what I do, I just put something on the, so that the screen can kind of hold its place. Yeah, not like that. Maybe this will work. So I'm just trying to hold the screen in place like that. And you probably can't see this, but I can clearly see this. So I need access to this part. So I think that will do. Again, just add some flux. That will make things easier. And grab a soldering iron, make sure it's clean. Add just a little bit of solder to the tip, and just do exact same thing. So I need to turn on my fume extractor, sorry about that. Just do the same thing, so kind of in this, just touch it and gently go through the whole thing. Again, the goal of that is to remove the remains of Lommel solder, because the connection won't be good if you leave Lommel solder there. It's brittle and will break at some point. I think we are done. So while we're at it, let's just clean the flux. So just use the IPA, or I use IPA for that. So I wish you could see what I'm doing, but just like that. And again, this thing glued itself. So if you do it on the piece of paper, that paper will absorb most of that flux. Just like that. And we're done. And with this, again, be very careful. I mean, if you leave a little bit of flux, it's not a problem. But I prefer to have those things clean. Clean the flux from the bottom as well. And we are done. So let's go back to the kind of normal view, and let's continue. Okay, so we're back. I put this already in place. By the way, I put this, I placed the polarizer, the original polarizer, underneath so that it doesn't scratch. Normally I would apply polarizer, but unfortunately I ran out of the polarizers. I prefer those that have adhesive, so I ran out of those. So normally I just apply polarizer before I start doing this side, but again I don't have those. So just to prevent scratching the screen, I just put the original polarizer, obviously the sticky part kind of down so that it doesn't stick back, or hopefully. So now, as you can see, I have this, this has been desoldered, so we can very, very gently flip this and put this just like that. So as you can see, we now have full access to this side. And again, the process is exactly the same. So just make sure, so the only difference is that there's two layers, as I said. So this white one, which is the reflective layer, and the polarizer itself. So make sure you take both of these at the same time, and that will make your job a lot easier. So let me just go underneath and see if I can do that. Not sure if I have both. Hopefully I do have both layers. Let me just see. Yeah. Yes. So again, exact same process. Just be very careful. Don't push on the screen too much. Be gentle. This doesn't need to go that easy, so let me just spray a little bit of this thing underneath. They were very easy to remove. This one is... oh god. That was a big mistake. Don't do that. I hope I didn't destroy this ribbon cable. That was something you don't want to do. Oh. We'll see. Done. That was really hard to remove, and as you can see, burnt. Totally burnt. So, exact same process. Spray that stuff on the screen. Wait a few seconds. And just go and remove this glue. I think we're done. Yeah, let me just, oh god, don't do that. Patience, as you can see, is the key, and I don't have patience, apparently. So again, I'm placing the original polarizer just to prevent scratching. This was probably one of the reasons it slipped. My screen slipped, and yeah, hopefully I won't have to pay the price for that mistake, and obviously this goes that way. Okay, so let's do it again. And the price, obviously, for not being patient is damaged connector. Again, you'll most likely get horizontal lines, which can be fixed. Have a look at one of my other videos. I'll link it somewhere here in the video. So it can be fixed, but if you're careful, you won't have to do that. Okay, let's clean that again, because I will be applying a polarizer on this side, so it has to be really clean. Okay, so what I have here is the this is something new. I never used this. This is, I think, called transflective polarizer, which means, I'll show you the original first. So this is the original. So there's polarizer on top and there's reflective layer there, and it doesn't let any light through. Obviously where it's burnt it does, you see, but normally it's just very little light. This is very strong flashlight. Look at this now. So I think these were installed in Game Boy lights, because so this kind of reflects some light and also lets some 50% or something like 60% of light through. So if you look there, you see, this is bright, so it lets the light through. So I never tried this. These have that sticky layer, so I prefer using those with the sticky layer. So I'll try that. This is actually first time I'm using this, so I'll see how this works. So let's just I'll probably do this off camera. Obviously you need to clean the screen again just to make sure, and by the way, it goes this way towards the screen, so that way up. I'll apply this off camera because the camera is in the way and I need to apply it cleanly, so I'll come back in a few minutes. Okay, so I applied this polarizer, transflective polarizer. You can probably see, yeah, you see, it's you can see through that. I also resoldered the connector here. I didn't record it unfortunately, but it's again, if you manage to desolder it, you'll be able to solder it. Just use your regular leaded solder and add some flux. There's one important thing is that you see these two holes here, one here and one here. These are positioning holes, so make sure you position the connector correctly, so these holes kind of overlap, and then just add some fresh solder to your soldering iron tip, add some flux and just go in that direction, so like that, and you'll be able to solder it very easily. So unfortunately I was just trying to find a backlight. I don't have one. I have to order a new one, but hopefully, again, this is transflective, so we should see something on the screen at least. Obviously it won't be nice and clean and bright, but we should see something. So I'll just put the screen back, put the screen aside for a second, and I have this Game Boy that I use for testing. There is kind of polarizer here. It's the non-sticky one, which I don't like, but again, I just use it for testing. There's no point in applying polarizer on the screen if that screen is broken, so I use this one just for testing. And you see everything falls out, so okay, I got my batteries right there, black envelopes, and obviously I forgot to put this slider, and this is actually tricky. It can be hard to turn on, hopefully, and there you go, it works. So you can see again it's green because this polarizer is kind of different than what has been used on what Nintendo used on the original Game Boy Pockets, but I'm only interested right now if it works, if I have lines or horizontal, vertical lines or anything like that. So let me turn it off again and let me grab my favorite game, which, if you watch my videos, is Bomb Jack. Well, it's not my favorite game, but for the Game Boy. So it sits there. Now again, tricky part. Will this turn on? Yeah, I've got Nintendo. Again, no backlight, sorry about that, but clearly I'd say it works perfectly. There's no horizontal, no vertical line, so yeah, I didn't pay the price for not being patient. This works. So I'll turn it off. Obviously this screen is not ready yet. I need the front polarizer, I need backlight, but the goal of this video was to kind of show you this contraption. I'd say this is a must. If you do more than one GameBoy Pocket screen, this is a must. It really helps. Again, if you're careful, this is great. Again, not my idea. I don't take credit. I'll try and find that video and link it and put the link in the description. But very useful. I highly recommend you make one of these. If somebody could actually make a design and 3D print this thing, that would be perfect. Would be ideal, because again, cutting this, yeah, it's not easy. I kind of wasted 2 or 3 of these because again, it has to be kind of precise. It has to, the screen, let's pretend this is the screen, it has to fit here and not move too much, because then it will kind of slide out, and the thickness has to be correct and all that, and there's a lot of gluing and all that. So if somebody could actually make a 3D printed design, that would be perfect. Again, so that's all for today. If you like my videos, please subscribe, please like my videos, and again, watch the videos on Game Boys, especially the one with Game Boy Pocket, where I show how to fix the horizontal lines. The fix is very easy. Again, need patience, and that's pretty much it. Okay, thank you very much. We'll do something else in next video.